Best. Is Harley Davidson the best motorcycle manufacturer? Let's discuss.
RevelatorAlf.
Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. Hope you enjoying the channel and the series of videos. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, like and share, leave those comments, and check out the website RevelatorAlf.com, where you'll find the links to Patreon and PayPal too. So, in this video, I'm talking about Harley Davidson as a motorcycle brand, manufacturer, icon within the industry. Are they the best of the lot out of Honda, Suzuki, Triumph, Ducati, whatever? Are they the best? Now, Harley Davidson have been getting quite a bashing of late, and I've even been accused of adding fuel to the fire as well. But I call it as I see it, and I like to bring a balanced argument to anything that I discuss. So Harley Davidson as a company, are they the best? Many of the comments, many of you out there would say, yes, they are the best. They sell the best. They are the best motorcycles. We sell lots and lots in our area. That doesn't necessarily make anything or anyone or any company the best. It just means in a particular region, they are the dominant motorcycle manufacturer in this case. But what is the definition of best? Well, here in the Oxford Dictionary, it says, of the most excellent or desirable type or quality. Adverb, to the highest degree. That which is the most excellent, outstanding, or desirable. I could go on, of course. But essentially, there is a gauge, there is a measure of what one item or one thing or one performance, how it measures up against something else. In automotive aspects, this is actually very hard to gauge. One product against another. Now, you could compare it to speed. One motorcycle goes faster than another. Okay, that's quite an interesting comparison. One will be better because one goes faster than the other. In some other people's eyes, actually, faster is not necessarily better. What about rider comfort? Okay, let's talk about rider comfort. Is one motorcycle better than another? Yes, it's more comfortable. Okay, then we start talking about sound. Is one better than another? If you start analysing better, best, it is actually down to an individual taste. What is one bike in your eyes? How does it compare to another? If you're a fan of that bike and if you're a fan of the brand, then does that mean that the whole brand, the whole company is better than the rest? Well, of course it doesn't. It really depends on you, in your particular area. What is the dominant sales? What is the dominant passion, if you like, for a particular motorcycle? How's that translating to sales? So if we take Harley Davidson as a motorcycle manufacturer in terms of sales, how do they stack up to the rest? Now, of course, Harley Davidson have been getting a bashing recently for their reducing motorcycle sales. But I've also said in previous videos that actually they are not alone. This applies to all motorcycle manufacturers. But if we just take 2019 as a yardstick, if we will. So I've got the list of figures here. 2019 saw Harley Davidson sell globally just over 218,000 motorcycles. Not bad. They've done quite well. Now, obviously, Harley Davidson make a lot of their money on parts and accessories and merchandise. We know that. But if we're just talking about sales, that's what they sold. But let's compare it to some other motorcycle manufacturers. Well, they're better than Triumph because Triumph only sold 62,000. They're better than Ducati because they only sold 53,000 and change. They're better than BMW. Yes, BMW. They only sold 175,000 and change. But then we start comparing it to other motorcycle brands. Piaggio, the Italian motorcycle manufacturer, actually their total sales were over 600,000. Moto Guzzi, as part of Piaggio, 74,000 products sold. Aprilia, 80,000. Piaggio in general, their motorcycles, 320,000. Royal Enfield, yes, the Indian motorcycle brand, they're coming on strong, as with a lot of other Indian motorcycle manufacturers, but Royal Enfield sold 693,000. The Indian motorcycle manufacturer Hero, they sold 6.78 million. TVS, who've just bought out Norton, they sold 2.82 million. Suzuki, 1.74 million. Yamaha, 5 million. Kawasaki, 499,000. Now, Chinese sales within China have actually been down in previous years, but they sold, wait for it, 17 million units or motorcycles within China. Now, there are 40 motorcycle brands within China itself, and most of the market is within China. There is some exports, of course, here, but I'm just talking about Chinese sales, as that is 99.9% of their sales. But Da Changliang, I hope I've got that right, they sold 2 million. Now, they are the leader of the pack. So all the other motorcycle manufacturers are selling a fraction of that 17 million. But the overall best motorcycle manufacturer in terms of sales is the one that Harley Davidson riders possibly love to hate, or the one that's compared to quite a lot. I don't know why. Honda. Honda sold 20 million units, motorcycles, mopeds, whatever you want to call, globally in 2019. There is no comparison. There is no comparison between Harley Davidson and Honda. Well, actually, any other motorcycle manufacturer and Honda. They are by far the leader of the pack. But does that make them the best motorcycle brand? Does it make Harley Davidson one of the worst? Well, no, it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. Because they're selling different products. Now, in the last 12 months or so, Harley Davidson have really been compared to Indian, or really, lots of people have been talking about Indian as the up-and-coming American brand, and watch out Harley Davidson, because here come Indian. Well, actually, the figures on Indian from Polaris are a little bit interesting. You can't actually get real figures for Indian motorcycle sales, but it's factored in the region of about 20 to 30,000. It could be a little bit more, it could be a little bit less, but they haven't really come out with a true figure. They've come out with profit and loss and percentage gains here and there, but no actual unit sales information, which I find really interesting. So, well, why are you trying to hide that fact? Perhaps they're trying to keep the hype up. Say, look, Harley, we're on your tail, we're coming after you. But when you stack up the figures, there isn't really a comparison either. They're a small motorcycle manufacturer. So why do people talk about Harley Davidson in terms of better or worse? Is it about speed? Is it about power? Is it about technology? Older technology? Well, as I've said in previous videos, actually some of the technology on modern Harley Davidson is actually modern technology. But you also get much opinion within the Harley Davidson fandom, as it were, that they don't want the modern technology. Actually, they want the old school feel of Harley Davidsons. They want that ruggedness, that simplicity, as it were. Modern tech, gadgets, traction control, ABS. No, we don't want that stuff. We just want the bare experience of riding a motorcycle. And that is possibly where Harley Davidson excel over other motorcycle manufacturers. They sell the experience. They sell the lifestyle. There is no doubt that riding a Harley Davidson does give you a certain feeling. Now, I'm not saying you can't get that feeling from other motorcycle brands. Of course you can. But they seem to do it, and they have a certain mystique about them. And that mystique is born out of heritage. They've been doing this for over 100 years. And they just keep on reinventing the wheel, as it were. They just keep on producing the same thing in a kind of different disguise, but it's always there. Yes, of course, we've got to talk about pricing, and many people would regard them as a premium brand. So much so that many people sometimes regard them as the Ferrari of the motorcycle world. I don't think we can class them as that. But there is a certain mystique about them. But the difference between Harley Davidson and Ferrari is that Ferrari have very limited numbers of models, whereas Harley Davidson have lots and lots of models. Perhaps if Harley Davidson reduced their model range, became more of a boutique brand, then you could start discussing them in this similar kind of way. Where Harley Davidson fail and other motorcycle manufacturers succeed is in their diversity. Honda, for example, offer the big sports bikes, of course, the big adventure bikes, but they offer motorcycles right throughout the CC range. The commuter bout of 400, 500, 600 cc range, of course, and then obviously the moped range as well, the low displacement. Harley Davidson don't really do that. In fact, the biggest sellers of motorcycles, Honda, Suzuki, also the Indian brands, they are selling small displacement engines. That's why they are the best motorcycle manufacturers in terms of sales. If we're going to talk about Harley Davidson surviving, then really it's diversity. That's what they need. But again, there is resistance to that. The resistance from people say, well, actually, if what we like so much about Harley Davidson is then diluted by this smaller engine, or if it's diluted by a different style or attracting a different type of rider, then it's not Harley Davidson anymore. Harley Davidson is an icon, and that's what it's best at. It's best at being a brand. It's best at being the motorcycle of choice for a certain type of rider at a certain stage in their life. It's an aspirational brand. It is the best at being what Harley Davidson does. And I think in motorcycle terms, I don't think you can compare them. You cannot compare like for like. I'm sure many people will comment in this video. And please do, let us know your thoughts. They will comment in this video saying Harley Davidson are the best, they ourselves the best. But it really depends what you're talking about. If it's the best for you, I have no argument. Is it the best when you compare to other motorcycle manufacturers? Well, what yardstick are you using? How are you comparing? Because some things you just cannot compare. Can you compare the feeling that you get on one motorcycle as compared to another? I don't think you can. It's purely a subjective thing. I can go out with my riding buddies, for example, and I can ride their bike and I think, yeah. They can ride my motorcycle and they say, yeah. Or we'd both be really impressed, or we'd both say, I want one of those. Or we might just say, you know what, I prefer my motorcycle. Because it comes down to personal preference. It's subjective. It's an individual thing. I've always been very interested in what people think is the best. Why is something the best? Why is something better? Because really, when you analyze the argument of something being better or the best, the argument breaks down. So whether we say Harley Davidson is dying, or Harley Davidson is rubbish, or Harley Davidson is, we want to bash them all day long, or whether we're from the other camp and we say, no, Harley Davidson are the best, whatever, actually, both camps are wrong. Both camps are inaccurate. Harley Davidson make motorcycles that are desirable. They've got to pay attention to their pricing, no doubt. They've got to pay attention to the type of models that they are selling right now and for the future. They've got to look at the motorcycle engines that they are supplying to the customers and the sizes of those engines as well. And they've got to make Harley Davidson a brand for the next generation. If they can do that, then we can really start talking about Harley Davidson in terms of sales figures, numbers going up, in terms of a big recovery, in terms of being the best. But comparing Harley Davidson to a Honda or to a Kawasaki or to a Triumph is a very difficult thing to do. It's virtually impossible. Even if you have like for like motorcycles in terms of cruisers, because that's essentially what Harley Davidson sell, is cruisers or performance baggers or performance cruisers. Even if you have a motorcycle manufacturer that produces similar kinds of things, then you've got to say, well, like for like. Let's say Ducati with a DFL. Can you compare them to a Harley Davidson? Well, a couple of them you can. Then you've got to say, okay, looks is one better. Well, that's an individual thing. Performance is one better than the other. Well, you can compare top speeds if that's your thing. Riding experience is a very individual thing. So it really becomes, some things can be defined as better or best, as in terms of measuring against a yardstick, whereas other things, it's purely an individual thing. Harley Davidson are the best at what they do. There is no doubt. The dealership experience for a lot of people, the hog experience for a lot of people, if that's what you're looking for, the lifestyle, the imagery, the thought, the idea of owning a Harley Davidson and riding a Harley Davidson. They've sold that the best, more than any other motorcycle manufacturer. Certainly in the Western world they've sold that, and certainly in North America, in Canada and the United States. Possibly around Europe as well. But we cannot say that they are the best, because I don't think anybody is the best, because I don't think any motorcycle manufacturer is the best. That's your interpretation, not mine. Your interpretation of better, of best, might be different to mine, and it might be different to everybody else out there as well. There are certain things we can gauge, and there are certain things that we cannot. But for me, Harley Davidson are one of the best motorcycle brands out there, no doubt. They might be in some financial trouble in the future, who knows? Or they might be able to recover, bounce back with the new models coming out in 2021. But they are still a huge motorcycle manufacturer. They are still the manufacturer of choice for many, many people. And regardless of how much bashing they get, dealerships will still be full of people having a little look around and trying to think, maybe one day I will be able to buy a Harley Davidson. Whether they enjoy that buying experience, whether they enjoy the dealership experience or eventually owning a Harley Davidson, whether they enjoy that, who knows? That's something different. But actually, there's still people who want to do it. Now, as I say, will the next generation of riders, the younger generation, will they still have that same thing? That same feeling, that same desire? Well, that's up to Harley Davidson to keep on finding marketing strategies and products that will attract those younger riders. That's going to be the key thing. All I can say is that since owning my Harley Davidson, yes, I do own one, you guys. Many people have said, oh, I'm a BMW rider, or I'm a Honda rider, or whatever. No, I own a Harley Davidson. And since owning the Harley Davidson, it's been some of the best riding experience that I've had. In terms of the way it's made me feel, the way I love talking about it, the way I love finding out about the bike and the brand. Yes, it's been the best riding experience I have. I absolutely love the bike, and I love more and more each day. But is it the best motorcycle I've ever had? Possibly not if I compare it to other motorcycles that I've had. But it's given me the best riding experience, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. If the motorcycle that you're riding, regardless of what brand it is, gives you the best riding experience, both on-road or off-road, or a combination of both, then do you know what? That's all that matters. So is Harley Davidson the best motorcycle manufacturer? Possibly, for some. For others, it definitely isn't. But who's to say what is the best, what is the worst, better, lesser? It's an individual thing. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, like and share, leave those comments, let us know what you think about all of this, and check out the website RevelatorAlf, where you will find the links to Patreon and PayPal too, and I will catch you again. Bye now.